Hello, it's me again. It's been a minute. I can't believe a month has already passed. But, well, Happy New Year, I guess. I don't know. Hello! Welcome to my YouTube art channel. Today we will talk about art. Today I thought I would show you how I plan out my illustrations. Not because somebody asked me to do that, just because I want to. Okay? It's basically because I always struggled with, or still struggle with, planning out illustrations or doing illustrations, and illustration is what I want to do, so I'm learning. I had a period in my art journey where I didn't move out of my comfort zone, okay? You're in your little bubble and you're happy in your little bubble. I mean, I also didn't have the knowledge to basically anything, but I didn't even try to experiment, okay? I stayed in my comfort zone. This looks like I was having an active psychosis. And sadly, that's the first lesson you will need to learn. Not just for art, but for life. But let's move back to art because I'm not trying to sell you a life-changing course or a book or something, I don't know. The most wrong thing or the most incorrect thing you can tell yourself is that you are not ready. Because if you keep telling yourself that, you will never be ready. Let's be honest, because there are always going to be people who are better than you. People who have experience in the industry or had experience in the industry for, I don't know, 5 years or something, or studied art at a university, which is something probably or maybe you didn't have. And that's okay, because we are individuals. But those people aren't you, okay? But you're making the first step. You want to learn how to create art with your own hands, okay? This is wonderful. This is great. At this time and age, you're creating art with your own hands? Oh my god. What? Wow. But you're not using AI. Let's get that out of the way. You're not using AI. You want to actively use your human brain and your human hands or your human mouth or feet or whatever you want to draw with. I don't care. But you're not using a machine to do the work for you, okay? That's great. But if you really want to compare yourself to somebody or someone, compare yourself to yourself, okay? That's the best thing you can do to improve, is to always be better than your past self or the self from one day ago. Who cares? Just compare yourself to yourself and not other artists. If you want to look at other artists, don't compare yourself with them, but be inspired by them. Learn how they do certain things and maybe copy those parts you like. You don't need to invent the wheel. A new wheel? I don't even know what's an English saying. You don't need to invent a bicycle new. It's a German saying, okay? I'm sorry. But let's get back to the video, because you clicked on it for something else and not for life lessons, let's be honest. Let's talk about me, myself, and I. Back then, it's been a while, I would have moved out of my comfort zone if I drew anything else than a hat, okay? As I said, this looks like I'm having an active psychosis. This is crazy. But if you want to know more about my art journey, check out this video. But now that we are out of our comfort zone, okay? I know, it's scary. Let's plan. Let's do what the video says. Okay, let's plan out what we want to do. At some point in the day, I get an idea. Okay, maybe it's the same for you. Maybe you just walk around and be like, oh, I want to draw that. I have an idea. If you don't have that, maybe go on Pinterest or something and get inspiration and combine things. However you gather inspiration for painting, do that. Okay, we want to think about what we want to paint. Think about a character, the scenario you want to put them in, the environment. Do you want another character with them? What expression do you want? Plan out what you want to do, what you want to portray, or what you want to tell with this illustration, because we're doing an illustration. And to visualize my idea, because I do have the brain capacity of goldfish, I do the simplest. And by simplest, I mean simplest sketch you can think of, okay? I just put it down and this is there. But can you make out what is supposed to be happening here? I can. How? Because I can read German. Well, so to get that straight, you don't need to learn German. But I also write down what I want to be happening, what I want to have happening in this piece. Doesn't have to be in German, don't worry. Now you have your idea. Now you know what you want to do. You have our idea. You know what... Oh yeah, I want to draw, I don't know, Charles Smith naked from Red Dead Redemption while being in the forest. I have no clue. Maybe you want to do that. But you have your idea. Whatever it is, you have your idea. This is wonderful. Wow. And if we are happy with it and find some time, I at least move digital. I move because I'm a digital illustrator. I move digital. Maybe you move to a canvas. Maybe you move to watercolor paper. Whatever you move to, move now. And either I have a reference as a photo from mostly Pinterest, or I make one myself with 3D models. I use Post My Art because I don't own Clip Studio Paint. And then I put down another simple sketch. Okay, I love simple sketches, as you can maybe see. Maybe I want to move things around or resize anything, maybe add some things, maybe change some things. And if I'm not sure about the lighting or what lighting I want to go with, or I want to have multiple options that I can choose from, I do a very also simple light scale? Grayscale with that sketch. It's nothing special, really. I also just do it if it's needed. I don't do it all the time because most of the time I have lighting planned and I just put it down because I hate grayscales, okay? I don't like grayscale, okay? If you don't want to work with grayscale, don't work with grayscale. It's okay, it's fine, we exist. And that's the good thing about art. There's no right or wrong. You can do whatever you want. You want to do a grayscale? Do a grayscale. You don't want to do a grayscale? Don't. And then, for me, it gets serious. I know it doesn't look like it now. It doesn't look like anything, actually. But I move to my sketch. And then I sketch. I don't really know what I'm supposed to tell you here. You just sketch out the things you have. You sketch. Do a sketch. Now, do a sketch. And for my part, I try to keep the sketch as clean as possible because my sketch becomes my line art. I don't really do line art. My sketch gets drawn over, but at some points the sketch is still visible. So, and I also keep separate layers for the body, hair, face, clothes, so I can just move around things, resize anything, and not cause a huge mess when doing so. When I'm happy with the sketch, which can take a while, I color. And I color weirdly. I don't know when I came up with this process of doing this. It was there at some point, okay? I take one part of the drawing and color it with a simple render. It's not really simple, but it's also not final. So it's something in the middle. And then I move on to the next part and repeat the process until I'm done with the person. Okay? And I always start with the face. Then I do the eyes. Then I do the hair, and then the clothes. I can't get rid of it, okay? I can't do color sketch and color over there. I can't do that. I need to do it this way. You don't need to do it this way, okay? Do it however you want to do it. Probably my way is a bad one, but who cares? And then we have our kinda rendered sketch. And then I put all the layers into a folder and add a layer on top of that folder. And then I start rendering! Yeah! Rendering means I just smooth out things, erase certain parts, add more color, more vibrance to the color, so my people don't look dead, and just make the drawing look more polished. I know many people ask, how do I render? I don't, like, that's rendering. You just finish the piece up, okay? Adding little hair strands, adding beauty marks or whatever, like adding details. You are doing details. You are getting lost in the process. And if we survive that, because that could take a while, but it's fun. I love rendering. I do the background, and I do keep my backgrounds really simple. Okay, that's not a stylistic choice. It's just because I don't have the experience. I really need to work on my backgrounds. I keep them so simple because I can't be bothered. But then we have our background, and we have the overall setting for the scene. At least I do. After that, I mostly add a multiply layer on top of the characters to make them fit into the environment. Because for me, I never draw like color theory. I don't know color theory. And then I add lighting. I add an add layer and just mostly do it with orange or any other color that comes to mind that is fitting for the environment, and just add lighting to the hair, to the skin, to parts of the clothes, or even parts of furniture, and just overall finish the painting up, okay? Sometimes I add a shadow around the whole painting just to have like the lighting more pop. If I'm drawing an inside scene, I'm drawing like little dust particles. I'm just doing dots with the add layer and the orange, so it looks like dust is floating around. Yeah. And then I finish up my drawing, look at it, close it, and think about the next one I'm gonna do because I can't stop. And I post it and hope I get more likes than 2.